Hello, welcome back to Active Path Law of Attraction, where we take your law of attraction and manifestation ability up to a whole new level. Today we are going to discuss the difference between a premonition and a manifestation. Several people have asked me, how do you know the difference? How can you tell the difference between a premonition and a manifestation? Because in both cases, you're thinking something first and then it happens afterwards. And some examples of this could be you think of a friend you haven't heard from in a while, and then within a short period of time, they reach out to you and communicate with you. You think of a certain type of car that you don't usually see, and it drives down the road not long thereafter. Or you could think about a particular conversation with a particular person, or think about an answer to a particular question, and not long thereafter, you're having that conversation, or someone is asking you that exact same question. So the question is, were these manifestations or were they premonitions of what was to come? And to answer this question for yourself in your particular situation, you really need an awareness of your thought process, where your thoughts originate from, and how they develop within your mind. If you have spent some time in a contemplative, meditative state where you're just being the observer, just observing what is happening within you and within your mind, just being the observer who is listening and watching and let everything happen around you. It doesn't take long to notice that the majority of your thoughts simply pop into your head. I mean, you do have a chain of thoughts, but there's one that originates that chain. And when you examine it, when you're observing it, you quickly realize that it just pops into your head. I'm sure you've had times in your life where you've been showering or doing the dishes or walking down the road, and suddenly an inspiration pops into your head, or the answer to that question just pops into your head out of nowhere, or where you left your keys just zooms into your mind even though you weren't thinking about it. And the truth is that all of our chains of thought pop into our head in the same manner. We're just usually too distracted, too stimulated, there's too much noise going on around us, too much happening for us to really examine or notice where that thought chain originated from. We just know that we're suddenly talking about Barbara from The Office in our head, and we don't really pay attention to where that originated. But when you have meditated a bit and you have calmed your mind down so it's quiet and tranquil, like it's an undisturbed pond where the water doesn't even have a ripple on it, then you realize that the thoughts just pop up like a bubble out of nowhere. You've got this calm, smooth surface, and suddenly there's a thought out of nowhere, and then there's another one just pops up. And there are many things that can cause these thoughts to just spontaneously come into our mind and develop into a conversation or a movie, or however you experience your thinking process. They could be spontaneous memories that are just bubbling up to the surface for no apparent reason. It could be stimulation in your environment around you, whether you're consciously focusing on it at that time or not. It could be part of a distant conversation. It could be something in your peripheral that makes a thought pop into your head, and it continues on into this conversation in your own mind. These thoughts that pop into your mind can also have their origin in the thoughts of other people, the people around you in your near vicinity, or people really anywhere on the planet. You can pick up on their thoughts and they can bubble up and create a thought stream within your own mind. These thoughts can also have their origin in the energies flowing through you and the energies flowing around you. And if you have premonitions, this will be a similar experience for you. Suddenly you'll have a thought. It'll seem like it popped into your mind out of nowhere. It wasn't something you were really thinking about at the time. And then in a short period of time, that event or conversation or whatever you thought about will occur, or something very similar to it. This thought just popped out of nowhere without you consciously thinking about it, and then it happens. That is a premonition. So in our previous examples, if I was just doing my dishes and suddenly Bob, who I hadn't seen in years, popped into my head and I continued doing the dishes, and then a short while later, Bob reaches out to me on Facebook even though I haven't heard from him in years, that is a premonition. If I'm walking my dog and I think of this conversation and then someone walks up to me and has that conversation with me, that is a premonition. These are thoughts caused by the energy flowing through us, the energy around us, and the thoughts of the people usually in our vicinity, but they could be out of our vicinity as well. A manifestation is quite different than that. And we're going to break manifestations down into two categories. There are the manifestations that we're creating habitually throughout our life without really focusing on it, without really choosing it consciously. And then there are the manifestations that we are deliberately choosing and deliberately creating in our lives. Let's first discuss the deliberate creation aspect of manifestations. In this case, you are deliberately choosing what you want to be, do, have, experience, create in your life and the world around you. And after you have made that choice, you are deliberately focusing your mental and emotional energy and your actions in a particular way in order to create that, to manifest that in reality in your life and the world around you. And this is very different than a premonition. With a premonition, usually the thought will just pop into your head and then it'll happen. Deliberate creation and manifestation is a deliberate choice, deliberate focus, deliberate action, deliberate creation. It's a process that you are fully choosing and fully aware of, making it completely different than having a premonition. Then there's the case of our habitual manifestation and creation. We are constantly creating, recreating, reinforcing our lives, usually mostly as they always have been and definitely as they are now. Most people aren't consciously aware of this process, aren't in conscious control of this process. We're just habitually creating and recreating what we always have been doing. Maybe you've always been popular, so you're recreating that. Maybe you've always had a pile of bills and you're recreating that. Maybe you've always felt stuck in a job and you're recreating that. Maybe you have fabulous relationships and you're recreating that. But it's not a conscious choice like deliberate creation is. It's just what you're used to doing, like your morning routine. You probably have a routine most mornings. You get up, you do the same things roughly in the same order, and that starts your day. You don't have to plan it. You don't have to think about it. It's just a habit, and you just do it. And this is obviously different than deliberate creation and manifestation. Another way to explain this or to clarify it is if you're driving a car, if you ever drive a car, there may be routes you always take. Maybe you drive the same way to work every day and you don't really pay attention to it. You might listen to something on the radio, be thinking about this and that, and before you know it, you're at work. You really didn't pay much attention to it. You just kind of did it. You just kind of drove there automatically. But if you're driving somewhere you've never been to before, you're paying a lot more attention. You might have your phone telling you directions. You may have looked the directions up ahead of time. You're paying more attention to the signs and the lights and everything happening around you. And it takes a lot more deliberate, conscious effort to get to where you're going. And although our habitual, common, everyday manifestation, what we are creating just because we've always been creating it and we're used to it, isn't a conscious choice. It may not be taking conscious effort. It takes effort, but maybe not conscious effort. It's still different than a premonition because what we are creating habitually doesn't just pop into our head. It's not a new thought. It's nothing novel. It's nothing out of the ordinary. In fact, it's so common, so everyday, so normal to us that we don't even really notice it's happening. When we are in our habitual creation phase, when we're not consciously choosing what we're creating, then we really don't even notice it's happening. It's just the way things are. It's just the way things have always been. It's just the way things will continue to be. It's just how my life is. Whereas a premonition usually won't be something you're thinking about every day. It's common. It's just what you're always thinking. It'll be a thought that pops into your head that captures your attention because it's unusual and it's not something you're usually thinking about. And you'll be like, where did that come from? So hopefully this will help you distinguish between premonitions and manifestations. If a thought just pops into your head out of nowhere and it's a bit unusual, and then a short time afterwards, without any conscious effort or thought or focus on your part, it happens, it's most likely a premonition. If you're deliberately choosing and focusing and creating something and manifesting it in your life, that is obviously a manifestation. And if it's habitual manifestation, it won't be a new, unique idea that's popped into your head. It'll just be your common, everyday existence going through life, recreating what you've always recreated. If you have any other questions about the law of attraction, manifestation, or premonition, please put them in the comments below. I will get back to you with answers. If you would like more information to help you up-level your law of attraction and manifestation power and ability, then please find us online. Our website is theactivepath.com. You can also join our Facebook group. Our Facebook group is called Power Manifesting Inner Circle. We really hope to see you there really soon. We've got a lot of great information there that will empower you to create the life you truly, truly desire. And right now, here's another couple of videos I know will blow your mind, so watch them right away. I'm Tom Riley. Until next time, remain at choice.